third video in the series is about how you can motivate your students. And before we get into this third video, I want to tell you, if you haven't seen video 1 or video 2, go back and check those out. In video 1, I talk about what a challenge I had my first year. And I give one strategy that this one tweak made such a big difference in my classroom. And I'm so glad my mentor teacher shared it with me. In video number 2, we talk about 4 different ways that you can cut out disruptions in your class. And then I also tell you about a secret weapon, which I guess is not that secret. We talk about how important it is to build relationships with your students and what a difference that can make in your classroom. So if you missed either one of those videos, definitely go and check those out. But today we're going to talk about motivating students. And man, I have to say, I understand it is a huge challenge to motivate students to study something that they're just not interested in. That can be really tough, but it absolutely can be done, and we really need to do that. That's our job as teachers. So today I have just 8 quick things that you can do to help motivate your students. Number 1 is to believe in them. You know, it's really easy as teachers to just kind of think, Joey's not going to have his homework today, or I really don't think that Elizabeth can even do this, but we can't think that way. If we don't believe in them, it's really not going to happen. So we have to believe in them. We have to believe in their potential right off the bat. Number 2, we need to encourage them. Sometimes a student who just seems apathetic is actually really discouraged. They've tried before and it didn't go well, and so they just rather not try than try and fail. So we really need to encourage those students that they can do it, show them that they can, and talk about how it's okay to mess up. It's really okay to fail. What's important is doing your best. So number 1, believe in them. Number 2, encourage them. Number 3, make sure your students are the ones who are working. If you're standing in front of the class lecturing all day, it's really easy for your students to just tune that out. And just having them take notes isn't much better. Your students need to be actively working and participating in the classroom. And there's a lot of ways you can do that. Check out whole brain teaching, check out flipped classroom, really just giving them an activity. And then you walk around and help them is huge. Number 4, use memory work or recitation. You know, imagine this. You've got this student who just maybe feels like they can't memorize, or maybe just doesn't seem interested in memorizing. Let's say your class is trying to memorize the First Amendment. If you say that First Amendment as a class 2 or 3 times a day for a month, don't you think pretty much every student is going to have it memorized just by default by the end of the month? And so that can really just force your students to learn, but it can also show your unmotivated students that they really can do this, and it's not as hard as they think. Number 5, make learning fun. And before you get stressed out, I know Pinterest sometimes can stress us out as teachers. We go on there and we see all these things and you think, how could I ever have time to do all of them? And the reality is, especially if it's your first year, you don't have time to do a huge activity every day. You know, maybe that will come later. But that you don't have to be doing all these intricate activities to make learning fun. If you really love your subject and you love teaching it, that's going to come across. It's going to be infectious. So really just find what you enjoy about your subject and share that with the students genuinely. And just, you know, make it interesting. You know, add some humor. Just try to make learning as fun as possible. Number 6, be wise with your homework. My advice is to give as little homework as possible. Only give what's really critically important. But when you do assign homework, expect it to be done, and to be done well. Okay, so limit the quantity, expect quality. If, let's say, what happens if a student doesn't do it? If it's a consistent problem, if you've got a student that's consistently not turning in homework, see if you can think of a non-academic logical consequence. So for example, in my opinion, the best thing is there another time during the day that you can require them to do it? Well, maybe the rest of the class is enjoying something fun. So, you know, if you don't have your homework, then you need to work on it while we're all watching a video or while we're all doing this game or something like that. See if there's something you can think of along those lines. Number 7, have one-on-one conversations with the students that are really struggling. Get to know them, find out more about them, and try to find out why they're struggling. So listen more than you speak and try to get to the bottom of what is really causing the issue. And number 8, get the parents involved. Now I know you may be thinking the parents don't want to help, but don't assume that. See, talk to them. Assume the best about the parents and see what you can get them to do. In particular, give them something specific they can do to help their student, okay? Sometimes parents just don't know what to do. So definitely get the parents involved as specifically as possible. Man, so I ran through those 8 things kind of quickly. They were believe in your students, encourage them, make sure they're the ones working, use memory work, make learning fun, be wise in your homework, have one-on-one conversations, and get the parents involved. As I said, I didn't have time to go into those in a ton of detail, but I hope that those ideas can really get you thinking and getting on some new ideas for you. If you want to know more about how to motivate your students, how to cut out those disruptions, how to get rid of the chatter in your classroom, I have recently put together an online course that I call Classroom Management 101. I really just wanted to take everything that I've learned from others and just from my own mistakes and put it into one online course. And in that course, I talk about motivating students and a lot more. I talk about the mindset we need to have to be effective. I talk about how to put together a discipline plan that will actually work in your classroom. A really important module, we talk about how to prevent discipline problems from happening in the first place. We also talk about what to do when problems do inevitably arise. We talk about how to motivate and inspire students to learn. And then maybe my favorite module, I took 13 common classroom issues, specific issues, such as what do I do with the rest of the class when I'm working with a small group? How do I prevent misbehavior from happening behind my back? What do I do if I get a new student mid-year? So I took those and we discussed each one of them one by one. Man, I have to say, I know what it's like to stand in front of your classroom and just to look out on it and to think, how am I going to get these students to learn? Or, what am I supposed to do? No one seems to be listening to me. That is so challenging, but it does not have to stay that way. You can learn how to manage your classroom, and I really think that this course can be a great help to a lot of you. The next video is going to be coming your way in a couple days. Watch your email for it. It's going to have a lot more information about the course. It's also going to have a special limited time offer that you can get in on. So watch your email for that in the next couple days. In the meantime, please leave a comment underneath this video telling which of these 8 strategies you think would make the biggest difference. You can also ask any questions that you might have about the course. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.